the person that's going to introduce fitness as a lifestyle and exercise, what do you think are those best things that they could start? That person that's wanting to lose the weight and keep it off, what are those things that would be most effective?
Well, in my opinion and from my experience, one of the biggest things is you need to constantly vary what you're doing.
Okay.
In my opinion, you need to be using all the muscle groups in your body. If you'll, in my studio and in my gym, and we also have a CrossFit facility, I have no machines. I am not a big believer in using a machine. What we need to use is our body, and we can use our bodies in various ways, but you need to have constantly varied, high intensity, functional movement. We want to have functional movement where our bodies, we're teaching our bodies how to sit down, stand up, reach above your head and pick something up from, you know, high to low, cross your body and pick something up this way. What if you have grandkids or kids? You should be able to have the strength to pick them up. The whole point of what we're doing is so that you can live on a daily basis to your best capacity. So for me, if someone's going to be going into a gym and committing an hour of their life to doing this, let's get the most bang for our buck. Instead of going and sitting on a bike and pedaling for 30 minutes while you read a magazine, let's get you out and moving and using every part of your body. You're going to burn more calories, you're going to train more muscles to work in a functionally capable way, and you're going to be living in a way that you're now at full capacity versus just kind of a little rat on a treadmill doing the same thing day in and day out. So I'm a really big fan of, you don't have to be Superman to do these things. Everything is modified to what you are capable of doing. If you can't do a full squat, don't worry about it. Get a bench, get a tall chair, sit down as far as you can, stand back up. Do that 10 times. If you can't do a push-up, don't worry about it. Go against a wall. Push against it 10 times in. There's always a modification. But I'm a big believer in using your body. Then once you have this figured out, then you can start adding external weights and balls and whatever else. But find what you enjoy doing as well. If you hate running, don't run. What's the point in doing something you hate doing? You get to do a lot of that in your daily life. So this should be something that you love to do. If you like to go up in the mountains and hike, do that. If you like to, you know, go out and roller skate, do that. It would be a sight to see. But pick something that you love. But always, there should be an element of resistance. If you're going out and doing cardio, that's great, but there should be something that is actually challenging your muscles so that you're moving with some resistance.
And
that's
science
important.
is learning more and more about the importance of resistance training. As a matter of fact,
Yes.
I've been fascinated lately to learn, especially for women, how critical it is, for example, in preventing osteoporosis and a variety of other things. And so you see more and more women, and particularly around here and probably everywhere, walking with weights and doing things their doctors are telling them to add some resistance. And that seems to be something we're becoming more and more aware of.
We want to keep that muscle on our bodies because really the more muscle versus fat that we have, the more metabolically active our bodies will be and the more protected we are. If you go out, it's snowing today, and if you go out on the ice and you slip, if you've been strengthening your body, your chances of injuring yourself, breaking a hip, popping something out of place is minimal because now you've got structure to you.
You know, you introduced me to the word functional strength.
Yeah.
Functional training.
Right.
I know it's becoming a big thing now with CrossFit. It's becoming a buzzword, but I've never done it. Like I said, I've been to the gym many times, and I always have wanted to stay in shape and generally had an interest in my health. Often spending actually years at a time not getting anywhere.
Right.
And so glad I did it, but it's funner when I had goals and was trying for big things.
For sure.
But when I started doing functional training, as per your advice, I was amazed. I've now started to really improve in my swim. I had injuries last year. I had a hip injury, a repetitive motion hip injury when we first started training. That really was a bummer, but the functional training made a big difference. My physical therapist gave me some functional training stuff to do as well there. So functional training, I just recommend it for anyone watching this. Become a student of functional training. You also recommend CrossFit, which would do it for you.
I'm a big fan of CrossFit. I know it has a bad reputation in some circles as being kind of causing people to suffer injuries, but if it is done properly if you have a coach that is watching your form, and if you keep your ego out of it so that you're not doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing, and you approach it with a humble attitude of, I'm going to give my best effort today, but I'm going to be smart, the results are amazing, and the changes in people's lives are really pretty incredible.
You told me you personally know someone, a woman who lost 100 pounds?
Yeah.
With CrossFit?
She started out 100 pounds overweight doing CrossFit. She didn't start out by doing, little like bicep curls on an isolated machine. She went in, she was overweight, she was unhealthy, she was unhappy. She started doing it, and everything was modified and scaled to what she was able to do. And here she is today, it's only been a year, and she is 100 pounds lighter, and she is a different woman.
Outstanding.
And it's just a process, but you start and you just keep chipping away at it.
And it was probably very hard for her. I appreciate what you said earlier about choose something you enjoy, and I totally agree. And wholeheartedly. It's a lifestyle thing. We all want to feel good. We want to enjoy things that we do, and yet at the same time, I've also heard you advising me and others to suck it up. Sometimes we're going to do something we don't enjoy. Right. I don't know if you were aware of this, but when I started doing triathlon, it was when I turned 40. It was 6 years ago. Okay. And I'd been playing basketball and going to the gym as my health routine, and I just had an epiphany once I turned 40. Hey, life's going to be different soon. I'm getting older. Basketball was not as fun. Couldn't jump as high. Things are starting to change. Right. And I thought, I need a sport that'll keep me healthy for a very long time. And one of my friends did a sprint triathlon and really enjoyed it. Said, Dave, you ought to try this. And I thought, well, wow, running, biking, and swimming. That would be great. Not as much impact on my body. I wouldn't have twisted ankles as often and all the stuff I'm going through with basketball. Yeah. And so turning 40, having him do a triathlon motivated me to do that. Now, I had anxiety in the water. I would start to hyperventilate. If I knew that the water was too deep for me to stand up, I had mental issues I had to deal with. And it was like embarrassing because I was like a child. Literally, even though I worked my butt off for my first triathlon, I had never been able to swim 750 yards without putting my feet down. Sure. And I entered my first triathlon knowing that worst case I could tread water and do a side paddle. And it was so embarrassing. I was like the third to last person out of the water. And it was so embarrassing. My swim was over by the time I got the first third done. Right. And the work anyways, although I hated swimming, I wanted to do a triathlon. And frankly, it was good for me to do something I hated. I hated it for 2 years, I kid you not. For 2 years, I hated every swim workout. But now I love triathlon, and to be able to compete in a national event is a huge life reward for me. Yeah. But I had to do something I hated. Now I enjoy it. And so there's got to be, I think for most people, probably they're going to do something they're not comfortable with, right, along the way?
They should.
Okay.
They should. If there's something that you're not comfortable with, that you really kind of don't know that you can do, that's the exact reason why you should do it. How much better gratification is there than to go into something that you don't have confidence in, that you're kind of intimidated by, especially as an adult, because we kind of get into our patterns. And we don't want that. We need to keep ourselves guessing. So my own opinion is, if there's something that you think, oh, I couldn't do that, I don't think I should do that for whatever reason, it's probably even more of a reason why you should.
And maybe particularly, I like what you're saying about CrossFit. I'm a big fan. I'd love to see people listening, if they haven't ever done exercise before, walk into that gym. But it's got to be one of the most intimidating thing in the world for some people, especially if they feel like, I'm going to be the biggest person in there. Yeah. I'm going to go in there and all these people are going to be so much more fit than I. How did that woman feel who was 100 pounds overweight, who walked into CrossFit? Any advice, tips, things you could say to that person?
Well, it takes a lot of courage. It really does. My first CrossFit class, I just finished an Ironman, and I was nervous to go in because I was like, I don't know what to expect, and what if I'm kind of dorky at it? And I was coming in from a pretty fit, season. But you know what? I've probably been to 15 different facilities now, just kind of, meeting new people. I haven't come to one that wasn't totally friendly, totally welcoming. I haven't come across any egos. And if you have a good coach, they will scale your workouts. So if there's someone that, they've got a bad shoulder, well then we scale the workout so that they don't do something that's going to tweak that shoulder. And we strengthen it, and then, so you got to work on the form first, and then we go into intensity and that kind of thing. So I guess my recommendation would be, if you're interested in trying something new, be brave. Don't be afraid. People are nice. Most people out there will be so impressed with what you do. And it's even more inspiring when you have someone coming in that is overweight and out of shape, and they have the nerve to like do that. People will be inspired. They will absolutely, this woman that lost 100 pounds, she is one of my heroes because of what she has accomplished. So, but be careful, go in, and I would encourage people to really do your research, do your background on wherever you decide to plant your roots a little bit. And make sure that when you go to, whether it's a CrossFit facility or a triathlon coach or even just a regular gym, whatever it is you're deciding to do, make sure it's the right thing for you. Make sure that it fits you right, and that you can trust the process, and that the people know what they're talking about, because there are people out there that really kind of don't know what they're talking about, and so you do want to be careful. But with that being said, go out there and don't be afraid. Give it a shot. I mean,
just go for
good things, amazing things can happen in your life just because you had the bravery to try it.
Okay, excellent. Now back to the hack concept.
Yes, that's right.
You said earlier nutrition's 80%. That's a lot.
Yes.
So what are those tips, the hacks? What would make the biggest bang for the buck? What health changes could the average person make that are quick, that you could just make them today, and they'd have the most possible benefit, be the easiest to do, and make the most difference in your life?
Well, the word easy is going to be taken out, because simple, I'll use simple.
Okay.
But easy, not easy, because we're ingrained with certain habits, and someone that's 30, 40, 50 years old has probably had these habits, or older. I mean, you have habits that they're in you. So we'll pick simple things. Get rid of the sugar. Sugar is probably one of the worst. If you're drinking soda pop, just stop. I know it's easy to say. It's a simple thing, but it's not easy. So I said that backwards. It's simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
But every person I work with, the first thing that we go through is, if they're drinking soda, they have to stop. We have to get rid of the soda, replace it with water. You should be drinking 96 plus ounces of water a day. Your body is comprised primarily of water, and yet people aren't putting water in. And so then they wonder why they've got things like headaches and joints that are achy and bad digestion and low energy. You need water. So my thing would be, replace soda, get that water going. Get rid of the sugar. From there, it becomes more, like details, where you should be taking good amounts of protein in, quality protein. You should be eating vegetables. You should be going easy on the starches and the processed carbohydrates, things like that. Eat your fruits, eat more vegetables. Nuts and seeds are great because they're a good form of fat. They're going to provide your body with essential nutrients. One thing that a lot of people overlook, that's not necessarily nutrition or exercise, but is sleep. You need sleep. If you're getting 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night, you are shortchanging your efforts. So I highly encourage everybody, 7, 8 hours of sleep a night. And if people tell me they're too busy, oh, I just have too much, I have too much going on, I can't get that much sleep. Well, then I just tell them, well, then it's not a priority. You really don't want to look and feel great, because if you did, you would make it a priority. That extra hour of TV, turn it off, go to bed, because you'll be benefited much more by an extra hour of sleep than you will by an extra hour of watching a TV show. So those are some simple things. Those are some basic lifestyle changes that if you're willing to do them, you will reap tremendous benefit.